Hey guys, welcome to Southern Comfort. We're into the kitchen and we're making spicy tomato ketchup. And so we have...
Can I say something?
Yeah, you say something.
Hey, we've been harvesting since 10 years till 9. So we want to show you these beautiful gardens.
So guys, welcome to Southern Comfort. We're into the kitchen and we're going to be making spicy tomato ketchup. The tomatoes came out of the garden. It's been a great harvest this year. Jenna, what you got going on there? What is that?
I don't know.
You don't know, it's a honeydew, right?
And I'll take this one to hold.
Oh, a little cantaloupe. A little cantaloupe. And so we got lots of tomatoes and cucumbers out of the garden, right? And okra.
Yes. You could see one of them for the video. Here. Now this is a tomato. You can tell. And this is one of this. So it do look like a watermelon inside, but it is actually not, because looks like a rubber gold ball, but it isn't, because it has these tapes on it. So we haven't been harvesting for a long time.
We've been harvesting a lot. But listen guys.
But we haven't had a video in a long time. So we harvest.
Okay, let me finish this because people want to know what we're going to be saying. So let me finish, okay? Okay, thank you. Mwah. So guys, the original tomato ketchup is going to be down in the description. This is going to be a spicy tomato ketchup. It's actually delicious. And if you don't like spicy, this might not be for you. But this recipe is not too spicy. I'm not a spicy type eating person. I like a little bit of spice, but I don't like it too spicy. So if you don't like it too spicy, this recipe, spicy tomato ketchup, is for you. So Jenna, let's show them what's going on into the kitchen, right? All right.
First we'll show them this thing.
To prepare my tomatoes, whether I'm making ketchup or just stewed tomatoes or whatever, you want to make sure that your tomatoes have been washed. And since I'm going to be putting it into a tomato press, and also this helps out also by going ahead and taking this out as you're washing them. So I'm preparing to get these skins off, or the peelings off. And my water is obviously hot. I'm going to make it easy. I do it this way when I'm going to put it in my tomato press. So I will let these go in here for about 2 minutes. I set my timer. You see I'm working fast. You hear the water running. I have also got the water running. We'll be pulling these tomatoes off. As soon as this timer goes off, then I'll be taking the tomatoes out. One of the things I like to do, whoops, got one, is take a spoon and keep these, the ones on the bottom, you know, hopefully all of them will be, and it does work out, all of them will get the same even temperature and won't be sitting on the bottom. You can go for a minute, but I usually try to go for 2 minutes. Over in this pot beside me, I'm making ketchup. Getting it ready. So these are, whether I'm making ketchup or whatever I'm doing, this is how I get my peelings off, or my skins. So this is really hot. At this point in time, I can start taking it out if I want to. After this, the water, and sometimes I put ice in the water, but especially if I got a lot of tomatoes, I'll just run cold water and get these to cool down so they won't continue cooking. And since we got 37 minutes, what I'm going to do is start taking these out. We do have smaller ones in here. There's some Roman tomatoes, summer pick, big beef, celebrities, Homestead tomatoes. And I'm going to put this off for a minute. Put it down because it doesn't need to be boiling. Then I'm going to take these right here. I'm going to go ahead and put them over there in the sink of water. So they can be cooling down. So I was putting all the tomatoes in the sink at one time. I can tell by the touching them that they're ready. Just by how the peelings, the skin is feeling. Go ahead and put these over there. So they're coming out of hot water. It's cool water, cold water. Like I said, sometimes I put ice in there. Got a lot of tomatoes to do, so this will be fine. I like to move them around so that water will be even temperature. Then all I'm going to do after that is loosen the drain down there and let the water drain out. Timer for 2 minutes. This is what it looks like when the skins are coming off. Very, very easy to get off. So we'll now be getting these out. Nice tomatoes. I'm so happy with these tomatoes this year. I like to just do a little bit at a time. That way my water's not like cooling down really fast. I mean, yeah, cooling down. Okay, this is my tomato press. This makes life so easy. It's a Weston. If you do tomatoes or canning vegetables and fruit and stuff like that, certain vegetables and fruit, this thing is the bomb. The vegetable will go in up there. You have this that you press it down into. You turn the handle. It's going to grind it up. All the seeds, or just about all the seeds. I won't say all of them. And the peelings or the skins are going to come out there. I usually take a spoon and reach in there to help out this so it won't put so much pressure onto it, so when it starts coming out I can just scrape it out. This right here is where the core, the skins go at, the seeds go at. This right here is where the tomato juice and tomatoes are going to run down into. I've already got my tomatoes. You don't have to, but it makes it a lot easier and faster. Put them into hot water for 2 minutes. So the skins will be really easy. These Roman tomatoes, they'll just go in there like that. And then we're going to press them down. The bigger ones, I'll just cut into. So my battery cut off. I'm going to take my bigger ones and I'm going to cut them into pieces, and then I'll put them in there and mash them down. You can make it even faster if you go ahead and cut your bigger ones up and have them sitting in a bowl. Since I've got so many tomatoes, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go ahead and start pressing. So I already put some Roma tomatoes in there. They're smaller ones. They're meaty. I don't have to cut these up. This is my press. And then I'm going to, there's a hole, so you're going to push it down and you just turn the handle. Now to begin with, it's going to look like you're wasting a lot of tomatoes, but I'm going to show you what I do to get as much tomatoes as you can get out of these tomatoes. See the sauce running. This is such a breeze. Before, I will take and put my tomatoes in hot water and then get the skins off of them, get the core out, and then chop them up or whatever. We'll get ready for the can them. But this makes life so much easier. On this other side over here, you'll see that the tomatoes coming out. That's where it looks like that I'm wasting a lot of tomatoes, but I'm not. And I like to take a spoon and help this along while I'm doing it. So this also comes up. I like to also take this right here as I'm going, because I found out if I just keep doing that, it's kind of, you know, it's kind of too much for this strainer here. And that way it's not all, say, stopped up. Makes it clean up a little bit easier. So this can slide up so that juice won't continue to run. This is what it now looks like. And let me put this right here. And this is what just came out. And so what I do is I put this right back in there, and I'm going to do this about 3 times. According to the tomatoes and how it's looking. And so watch this. Now there's not that much in here as it was before, but I'm going to mash it down in that little hole at the top, and I still get my tomatoes. Now it doesn't have all the seeds out. That's where I'm going to use my sieve if I need to. To get the rest of the seeds out according to my recipe as far as canning. Over here. And this is the peelings, it's the seeds, it's the core. You can do that as many times as you want, but I find out when it's already gone down, I find out about 3 times is sufficient. You can do it 4, but I have a lot of tomatoes, and I find out that that's just enough. Because that's a lot of peelings that's in this now, just peelings and seeds. Oops, I about dropped it. We're going to put some more tomatoes in there. If you're doing a lot of tomatoes, even just a little bit of tomatoes, this thing's worth it. It's just worth it. Bigger tomatoes I cut up to help out, just to help with the machine. Just makes it so it's not working so hard. I'm going to take care of it. So I cut those up, put all my Romas in there. My bigger tomatoes, cut them up. If I had time, I've got something, ketchup going on the stove now, but I would take my bigger tomatoes and go ahead and cut them up. I need to rinse my hands. You can look online and find these. This actually, some places, if you go online, you can go to Walmart, they didn't have extra of these strainers here for like fruits and berries, making salsa, you know, variety of, it came with this, with a strainer, little strainer that helps this to come out. And then it came also with 4 other ones for the same price as Walmart did. I believe this one right here is the pumpkin strainer. I find that this works out. I think it's a pumpkin strainer. It says it in each strainer, it'll have the name on it of, you know, what you could be using it for. But I believe this one's the pumpkin. I think that worked out best for me for what I'm going to be using it for. If you're making salsa, they have one that's strictly for salsa. Beware, it will splash. And here, I need to go in here. I just find it's really easy, better to help this thing along. We don't want it to overwork. And this little bit of time, we're not quite half a bowl, but this is a big bowl. Let's see, that's sort of filled up. And then we're going to do it one time. Push it down in that hole a little bit. And if you wanted to, you can just do all your tomatoes. I mean, I've done it like that, and then go back and do this part. I kind of like doing it like this. And then I'll have another bowl set. Most of the time I'll have another bowl set aside and just put all the cores and peelings or the skins on the seeds, and just go put it in the compost. Or chickens. Most of the time chickens don't. Unless they're hungry, they're not eating it. Throw it in the garden. And when I get this bowl almost filled up, then I just take and go put it in my pot. And then what I'm going to be using these tomatoes for, recipe, then it'll be ready. So when you get to a place that maybe you want to stop and get some of the seeds out, then my little helpful tip is use a scraper. See, this has now gotten to basically mostly seeds, but when it gets to this stage right here, then it wants to stay up on the sides, and you're no longer pressing the juice and pressing these seeds down so you can get as much seeds out. So what I do is I keep my little rubber spatula here. I keep it on the side so it'll scrape it down. And then that way I can get as much of the tomatoes out as I can and not stay up onto the sides. In the meantime, juice is still dropping down. I think that we're good at this point. And if it gets too much of a little clump, you just mash it down. Keep your spatula, little rubber spatula scraper here on the side. And that's it. So now what we're going to do is that we're just going to go ahead and get some of these seeds out, because this is pretty much nothing but seeds. So that when we do the last batch, this is 21 cups so far. Well, there's probably 2 more batches. So we do the last couple batches, then we won't have all these seeds in the way, and we can pretty much just get this finished with getting all these seeds out. So yeah, so this will be chicken food. We'll just give it to the chickens. If you don't have chickens, you can just throw it in your garden, your compost. So around here we don't waste anything. So we see that our ketchup making has gone down some. I didn't put it at a rapid boil because I'm also over here getting other tomatoes ready. And it's on my stove, it's on 4, almost a medium. If I take and cook my tomatoes a little bit, you know, let some of all that moisture or some of the moisture get out. Then I don't have as much. You see this up here, a little foam. I don't have as much foam, so when I do it the first time and I put my onions in, then I also go back as this foam develops and skim it off. As this is going down, after this could be cooked down now, if there's more of this, like little bubbles, I'll skim this off and take it off. If we look at the thickness, still got a ways to go, but the color has changed some. Just keeping it constantly stirred. Now this should have been just about ready to go for the next step into this recipe for cayenne ketchup, but you don't have to be in a hurry with it. As long as this is cooking down, this moisture water is coming out of this pot here and making it thicken up, that's what we're looking for. I like slowing it down a little bit too, so to make sure it doesn't burn if I'm busy doing something else, because constant keeping it stirred is key. So our ketchup is halfway down, is where we want it to be. And that on top, I'm going to skim it off. So it's halfway down. We're just going to skim that off the top. Since I've already cooked this down, I don't have as much. And as this has been cooking, you know, if I see this, I go ahead and skim it off. It's not going to hurt anything. It just looks better into the jars. So what I have here is vinegar. You can have a spice bag. I don't have a spice bag, so I'm going to be using a cheesecloth. And into your spice bag or cheesecloth, it's going to contain cinnamon, cloves, and garlic. So if you was going through, or if you was going to do 12.5 pounds of ripe tomatoes, then you would have 2 cups of cider vinegar, 1.5 tablespoons of broken stick cinnamon, 1 tablespoon of whole cloves, and 3 cloves of garlic, finely chopped. So I'm going to take this cheesecloth. I've got my cloves there, and 1.5. Let's see if I can break this. And then I got my garlic. And then I'm going to try to tie this. If I had a string, I could tie a string around it, but I don't have one available right at this moment. So I'm going to try to just tie this on there. You're going to place the vinegar into an enamel pan. This is apple cider vinegar. Actually, what I'm using is apple cider vinegar with a mother. So I decided to switch to a smaller pan. And you're just going to take that and put it right in there, and you're going to let it simmer for about 30 minutes. Once it simmers for 30 minutes, then what you're going to do is you're going to bring this to a boil, and you're going to place a cover over the pan and remove it from heat and allow this to stand into the pan until it's ready to use. Make sure that your pot is covered while it's sitting there waiting for you to get ready to use. Now we see our tomato mixture has cooked down to half where it was, because we can see where it was at before, and it's halfway down. Now I remind you to begin with, when I was cooking down these tomatoes, I went ahead and put my onions in it, but I also put my sugar in it. And you can wait till now to put your sugar in it, but I also use brown sugar besides white sugar. Since I had a little bit more tomatoes, I went ahead and added 1 extra cup of apple cider vinegar. We're just going to pour this in here, give it a good stir. Because I added the brown sugar, that's why mine looks a little bit more brown because of it being brown sugar. At this stage is where you would add the paprika, the sugar, and the salt, and you're going to boil rapidly until it's thick. Now if you're doing 12.5 pounds of ripe tomatoes, then you're going to be using 1 tablespoon of paprika, 1 cup of sugar, and 2.5 teaspoons of salt. I did add another cup of apple cider vinegar, like I said, because it depends on the amount of tomatoes. You're going to kind of have to adjust to your amount of tomatoes. Now since I don't have any paprika, which I thought I did, I'm going to be substituting chili powder. Now you're going to be using 1 tablespoon of paprika, and I put just a little bit less chili powder in there besides using the paprika. So we're just going to sprinkle that in there. But if you don't have paprika, you can use chili powder. 12.5 pounds of tomatoes requires 2.5 teaspoons of salt. So I'm going to 1, 2, 3, because you can always add salt to it. And then we're going to give it a stir. And this is where you add your sugar. We're going to stir that all in real good. Now I have tasted this and it's sweet enough, so I don't want to add any more sugar. That's a good thing about adding the sugar ahead of time, is that you can taste it, and then since it's already cooked, you can go ahead and taste it and see if you need to add some more. I definitely don't need to add any more sugar. Now we're going to boil this rapidly until it thickens up, and it's going to take about 10 minutes, and then we'll be ready to put it into our hot jars. And I will be using pint jars. Okay, I can already hear it boiling. And so when we put these in a jar, you're going to be water bath canning this. You're going to process in boiling water bath for 5 minutes. So this is the time when you're waiting for this to get to a good boil, is that you have that water bath canner already getting hot, so that when this mixture, it only takes 10 minutes, when this mixture cooks for another 10 minutes, then we'll be ready definitely to put it into the jars. And I know the top of that, that cooked down looks kind of yucky, but it's going to be good. This is where you also want to keep stirring. You don't want to burn your ketchup. Now remember, you're going to boil this until it's thick. It usually takes about 10 minutes, but if you see it that it's not thick enough, just let it boil just a little bit longer. But just be sure to keep it stirred. But now that we see it boiling, I'm going to set my timer over here for 10 minutes. That way it helps me not to forget, walk off or something other, and then mess up my ketchup. So I always set my timer, and we got it set for 10 minutes. Now when I put the salt in, I just use plain salt. Oh. Hey guys, welcome to Southern Comfort. Well, we're into the kitchen and we're making the spicy tomato ketchup, and all the tomatoes came from the garden. So we have got the boiling canner going here. It's ready for these jars. We're going to be using pint jars. You can use quart jars, but we're going to be using pint jars, and we're going to be processing the spicy tomato ketchup for 5 minutes. Now the original ketchup, tomato ketchup, is going to be down in the description. And if you just want to make just original ketchup, then this will be a good recipe for you. The spicy tomato ketchup is not too spicy. I'm not like a spicy type person, but it's got a little bit of spice. It's got a great taste. So if you like just a little bit of spice, this is the recipe for you. So now we're going to fill these jars so we can get them into the canner. So we have our jars ready. They're sterile, and no, you can't do this. So they're sterile, they're ready to go into the canner. Now I've already got my salt into this spicy tomato ketchup. But if you didn't add salt to your product, then this is when you add the salt, which will usually take 1/2 teaspoon of salt. So we're just going to fill it 1/2 inch from the rim.
You need to scoot over on mine the video.
Now the USDA book recipe that this came out of says to, you know, usually you hear people say finger tight. I've even said that, but it says to tighten them, you know, pretty tight. So I'm not doing too tight, but it's pretty much finger tight for me. Jenna, move that, get that baby off of there. You don't want her to get burned, do you? Now,
Can I do one though?
no, you can't. This is hot. This will burn you. So,
No, I want to hold the jar.
no, it's hot. No. So, usually, I forgot to, I like to debubble. The USDA book that I have, I don't know where I keep getting jars, but the USDA book that I have was my grandmother's, was my mother's, and now it's mine. The older books, you could see recipes in there that you kind of don't see today. Like, for example, the USDA book, has recipes in there that the modern doesn't. For example, zucchini, you can they say can that, and then they leave out squash and say not to can that. So we're going to go ahead and get the rest of these canned up. See if I can get myself to this point that we can put these jars into a canner. You always want to check your jars, make sure they're not chipped. So we got all our jars into the canner. Now we left 1 inch space, usually up to the rim right here. I guess that's 1/2 inch, but I always go right there at that rim with my jars every single time. If you do the measurements, that's the perfect measurements. Now we're gonna drop this into the canner. We got our water hot, and you gotta be very careful. This is where it's super hot. And we're gonna put the lid on. That's gonna really get it going. And we're gonna process this for 5 minutes.
Okay.
When the timer goes off, then that's when it'll be ready. That's when we're gonna take
all it out.
We're gonna take it all out. Now she is learning. Aren't you? Doing good. Super good. Super good. There's our beautiful spicy ketchup. Now remember, I didn't just use white ketchup, I used brown sugar. Watch out, baby, these are very hot. And we'll just leave these sitting up here until tomorrow. Hope I got enough space here.
Yeah.
I better just sit back there for a second. I might not have enough. Make sure I got enough room. Give me that rag, babe. Thank you. Now put that back. Put it back like I had it. Put it back like I had it. Watch your fingers get back. This is scorching hot. Scorching hot.
Put one around the corner. How much do you even have in there?
Well, let's see how many we got. We got 9 pints.
You didn't even write that one.
I'm not gonna write it until after tomorrow, until it cools down. We'll put the time, the date, and then what it is on top of it, so we'll know. Okay, so we got 9 pints, and we got a little bit left
Now
over,
one's
which
sealed.
yeah, one did seal, didn't it? That's good, Jenna. And we got just a little bit left over that I put into an old salsa jars and go in the refrigerator. Say thanks, guys, for watching.
Thank you guys for watching.
Say see you on the next video.
See you on the next video.
So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe.
If you haven't subscribed, subscribe.
And say give us a thumbs up.
Give us a thumbs up.
And say I'm learning.
I'm learning.
Yes, you are. Thanks, guys.
Bye. Boop boop.
Now this came with the Bible book. They sent it to me. They didn't have to, and I appreciate it so much. But this is like from start beginning, starting from seeds. You know how to take your tomatoes or maters onto a journey, and all the way up to canning different recipes. It's called Supplement to National Gardening, the Book of Tomatoes. I don't know if you can find this one anymore, but it's a really super good book. It's very short. Back in the day, they kind of made them just very small and simple. This is a 1985 book here. In 1985, you can get them in 1985 and 1987. This is some of my tomatoes that I have picked. I still got lots of tomatoes onto the bush out there. As you can see, some of them are picked green. That helps keep actually helps keep the stink bugs out. When you have all ripe tomatoes, the stink bugs are, my experience, wants to take over. So So you see the quantity of tomatoes here. Some people say let them ripen up or pick them ripe off the vine. It'll taste better. I haven't noticed much difference. I haven't noticed any difference really. Just a couple other books. I have lots of books of recipes and canning books, but the ones I showed you are basically the ones I use. I got this off of Amazon. It's the Complete Guide to Pressure Canning. It has good recipes into it. When I say recipes, like you fix up the meal, the recipe, and then you're going to can it. So it's a really super good book. It has a different variety of things. It doesn't have as much as the old-fashioned recipes, but it's got some really good recipes into it. This book right here is a ball book. It's called Complete Book of Home Preserving. It's 400 delicious and creative recipes for today.